our company at OneLife, we do real estate and we do trading of equities, and we also do business, and we do tax and planning and protection of assets, and we do this in a way that has you not buy property from us or enter into transactions of managed funds or leveraged positions that we sell. We don't sell them at all. We actually show people how to buy and how to buy wholesale. So we've been doing that since we basically started. And so it's a bit different. The other thing that's, I think, very different for us is that when you come to an event such as this, it is confusing and there's a lot of things to choose. And however, I believe there's just one thing that's right for you. Just one. And to know that, to nail that, is very, very important. And what I mean by that is that some of you aren't good traders in equities and shares, and you never will be. Who could relate to that story in some way? I'm just curious. Some of you will not be good at internet. You can't sit there for a long time. You just don't even like that. You actually like being with people and a whole range of other things. And it's not to say that, because there's people here that are absolutely, this is exactly right for them. That's what they should be doing. But there's people that, to go into those programs is probably not in their interest. And there's some who don't really want to be in real estate. And there's some who want to be in real estate. My figures show that 60% of you would like to be in real estate and do trading on properties and build your fortune that way. There's about 20% of you that would like to do internet work, whether it be eBay or would be, trading on the markets, day traders, etc. There's about 20% of you that are really like to be in business as your first cab off the rank. And quite a few of you also would like to do a multiple of those given enough time. And as the legendary Mel Emery spoke here, the difference that we are is in the mentoring of that. And every one of our clients gets coached. And we think that is the most important. And the reason we've been in business for 43 years, it's actually 46 now, because I'm 67, it's getting older. The reason this is because of that coaching. Who here has experience where you got very excited about a product or program or something and you went bang, and then within a week or a month or something you hit the wall, bang, and you kind of didn't do much about it? Be honest, because I can put my hand up on that too. So this coaching is extremely important, and it's fundamental to everything that we do. Because, and I think like Mel was talking there, and what I'm sure Pat does, and a lot of the others there, they just want you to win. No matter what, they want you to win. It's so, so important. And obviously, OneLife so do we. Now, I've got lots of little stories too. I'm not going to bore you with them too much, but this is a mentoring book that we have out. Who's seen that book around? Someone? A few people? Couple, one, two? There's been thousands of them. And because I'm the oldest guy, they made me the mentor of the mentors. So, yeah, I think that's good. And my wife's in here too. My wife Katrina is in this as well. She's she's in the Journey. Who knows the Journey and Brandon Baser's work? Anyone knows that? A couple of people. Okay. So she does that out of Australia, New Zealand, and all that sort of stuff. And we've got some of our people here who are in this book actually. And one of the guys who works with us very closely is Lachlan, and he came to our program, Lachlan Ellsworth, and he's trains people in trading, and he does Traders International. Who knows of Traders International? A few of you guys. So he does a lot of work with us now, and he did my program 6 to 7 years ago when he was an army person. So he went from shooting to going into trading to then buying the business that does trading, that actually owns the business, and now I would regard him as one of the best traders in this country. It's a big statement for me to make, and he's my coach. So how's that for a turnaround? In this book, and my hope is that, well, pretty well everyone will get this today. We also have it on download if you want to do that, to download it. Who likes still to read books though? Yeah, I kind of still feel like holding them is good. So we want to give you that, and the title sort of says it all, $1 to $1 million. And I want to share today what this is about. how do we do $1 to $1 million step by step? And I'm going to use some vehicles, real estate, I'm going to use trading, and I'm also going to use business. I'm also going to show you how to protect your assets. I'm also going to talk to you about where you fit in this. And I just also want to just say up front, last year we gave away $350,000. This year we'll do more than $450,000. Help single mums, small businesses that are struggling, all sorts of things. Yeah, and thank you for that. But it's not about me. It's about this organisation that I stand for, and it's about the great leaders we have within our company. So what I want to say to you up front, money will not be an issue for you. You know, when you see some of the massive numbers that people look here and you go, oh, gee. I mean, I don't think there's a person in the room that wouldn't want to be with Mel Emmerich. Not a person. There's usually only two things that everyone ever considers. One is it valuable enough? And I think he's proven that pretty clearly. The same with if you talk to Pat. The question is, can we afford it? You know, our money, and we get anything that blocks us, And a number of you went back to the room there. I think every single person should do and work with Mel. If you want to be a business success, and he's got enough things on the wall there to say, this is how it is. So what I want to say to you in my presentation is that certainly money won't be an issue for you. At all, well, you know, may well be an issue, certainly not an issue for me. And I'm going to see to it that anybody here who's serious about our program, if there's anything that would stop you in any way, talk to our people. We've flown down 4 or 5 of our team here to help. So this is the dream, this program, and the dream that Pat's built with Mal is, let's make this a reality, not just a dream, okay? So I want to begin with a question, if I can. When was the last time you felt any stress in your life? Financially. When was the last time you had any stress in your life financially? Oh, about 5 minutes ago when Mel said. Whatever. So I'm going to ask you just what that's about for you. What's stress? Stress is a code to fear. Follow the stress, you'll find the fear. What is this? A fear with the money. And it usually goes back, and all our speakers, Amanda, she spoke about her thing, her spelling and school and stuff like that. You know, Mel spoke about, I've never met Mel before, but just to hear him with his father the same as mine. My father was a drunk, come home, used to beat my mum up, beat us up. It seems that if you have a drunken father, you do really well. So, bring it on, right? Please just disregard everything I just said. But I tell you, it either makes us or breaks us. You know, your father is either a great example or he's a warning, one of the two. And my father was a great warning. And it was such that in my life, I had to make a difference in this, and I couldn't spell. And when you can't spell, you can't read. When you can't read, you really knock out pretty well most subjects. So the only thing I was kind of good at was math. And I loved drawing. That was it. And when I left school, they were very happy that I did. And I think they all celebrated. And my brothers and sisters who were very successful academically, I was the youngest. I think I picked up like Mal. He was the youngest in his family. And they didn't think I was going to make it. I remember I was called to the headmaster with my mother. And the headmaster said to my mother, "Oh, he's not going to make it." And I was 8. I remember going home. And I'm thinking I'm going to die. So I said, "Mum, what does it mean when you're not going to make it? Am I going to die?" He says, "No, son, you're just not good at this. You can't spell and you'll never get a job. And you've got to pull your socks up." And I didn't know, I was trying to pull the socks up and that would mean anything. And she was just trying to do the right thing. You know, she was just trying to motivate me, but of course she had no idea how to motivate me. But anyway, what I'm suggesting is that life makes us who we are. And I'm grateful because I now live a different life, and it's taken me years. And as I pick up in Mal, there's some anger in him, and there is in me. And there's a control issue here. And I've been working on this all my life. And I've found as I've mellowed in this, because all the money in the world doesn't put that anger out. And OneLife's really about balance and harmony. And he's been talking about it too, because you know, we work on health and well-being, we work on relationships, and I know Mel works on that, I know Pat works on that. and then money flows. Now, I'm going to be talking about money, but as Mel says, there's a lot of personal development, because we work mostly on financial intelligence in our explanations, but emotional fitness is 90% of this game. Who's following this conversation with me somewhere? Financial intelligence is something you are not usually taught, and we teach that. A lot of people have that kind of ability. We probably do it a little differently to some, but emotional fitness is, without doubt, the most important. Because money is flow, money is energy, money is not pieces of paper with pictures with dead people on it at all. Money is energy. And you do need that money to make those choices, and that's what Mel was saying all day here. It's really about having choices. So let's get into this and have a look at real estate, business, trading. Let's look at protection of assets, look at all those things. But let's look at if truly this could be in the way of your financial freedom. If you've experienced stress around the shortage of money, then this is not a good mindset to have when you're trying to get it, because it doesn't work that way. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where you perhaps are, or where some of the people are in this room, and where you could go. I said there was 3 questions really. The first question I said, what was who experienced, any stress in their life financially, and everyone laughed and thought that was a funny thing. If you really go to the second question and say, well, when have you not experienced some stress around money? For me, it was all the way back to childhood. But Mum and Dad kind of looked after everything as best they could. And of course, even then that was tough. We still had our power turned off because there wasn't enough power. We couldn't afford the bill. And then, if you really get to the bottom line here, I think Mel put it up on the screen very eloquently. What was the percentage of people who didn't make it, and what was the percentage who were financially free? The ones who were the 1% rich and the 4% who were. So it was really 95% didn't make it. So technically, we've got about 2.5 people here that are going to be not pensioners. 95% aren't statistically. However, the very fact you've come here makes a big difference, because you wouldn't take a whole day or 3 days off to waste without wanting that. However, I'm going to tell you there's something, and I'll tell you a secret here, that although you're sitting here and you've taken this kind of time off, there's still a great deal of frustration trying to put all the things together. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, hopefully, today as well. These people are on the 40-40 plan. They work 40 hours a week for 40 years, and they end up with $300 or less on a pension. And if it's not a pension, I'm sorry about this over there for you guys. I'll just turn this around for a second. If it's not a pension, it's a superannuation kind of thing. I think a few people talk about this, but 65,000 is not going to really make it. And there's people, that's the average amount of money that people have in their whole super fund when they retire for the big holiday. Now, the first question I really want to answer just real quick is, why do you think it is this high? Why do you think 95% of the population are in this mess, and why would it be that you wouldn't be? Or how come? Anyone got any idea? Why is this so? Yes, sir. They're not taught, absolutely. What were you taught at school?
Nothing.
Who was taught here how to buy a piece of real estate at school? Anyone? Who was taught how to invest with their super fund? Who was taught how to buy a share? Who was taught the most basic thing on how to apply for a loan? Are these things important?
Yes.
So that's true. And your other you weren't taught. Who was your other major teachers? Parents. Hands up, all of you have got mums and dads that are multi-millionaires and totally financially independent. We usually got 1 or 2. There we go. Financially independent. Good. Not multi, but you've got a couple. Okay. Make it groups of hundreds of thousands of people. And 100 people you get 3, or you're lucky if you get that. So you hold the DNA in you right now of failure that Mel was talking about you. See you guys. Good. Program's over now, so it's cool. Well, the good news is this could be changed, of course, but you hold the DNA. You understand the DNA is very clear, but you are multiplying our DNA very, very quickly. So, in fact, the replication of that, of your cells, which something like between 60 to 100 trillion of them, which is equivalent to about 20,000 planets multiplied by the number of the people on the planet. There's a lot of cells for one human. 5-6 billion by 20,000 is a human in cell count, so it's pretty high. And it's going quickly. And your whole body's changing very rapidly. I won't go into that, it's another conversation. What I'm saying is that you can change everything here in a heartbeat with a great decision, providing you create a good environment in your mental. One of the challenges with the druggies, they get back into the other environment, not mental. So we've got this issue called, we've got education, we've got that, we've got the DNA of us, we've got who we surround ourselves. What else? How come we've still got that 95? Because some of you, as you've already learned, people like me and Mal and others who brought up, yes, sir, madam.
Mindset.
Gee, these guys have been listening. It's the game over. I pretty well could sit down almost midnight after that. This word is the most magical word in the entire universe. And the good news is this can change, yeah. So I'm going to give you some sort of quick little things of it. I'll move this over here a little bit so everyone can see. The mindset of a 95%er is to get a job and create some income from the job, and from that buy some assets. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk about getting an asset and creating an income.
Yes.
Now, can you see there's a difference in that equation?
Yes.
Now, although you may not fully understand this because the magnitude of this statement is basically a principle and a strategy. We're going to talk about principles, strategies and tactics. However, most people, if we don't blow up, most people are interested in tactics. Most people are like, which share should I buy, what house would I do this, whatever. We are going to blow up, I can tell. Leave the room, everyone leave the room, go to the fire, stop, there you go. As soon as I talk, they fix it. Okay, so we're going to work a lot on principles today and strategies. Now, this thing, mindset's an easy word to, it's like value, it's like character, I was talking about character and competence. Very important strategies. And character comes to, he's read The Speed of Trust, which is a fantastic book, and in character, you're worrying about a person's integrity and their intention. What's their intention? What's their integrity that they have in that? Those sorts of words are easy to say, but to get what the real meaning of mindset is, because you can be very excited in one of these events and walk out and be miserable again. Now, this wouldn't apply to all of you. I'm only talking to some of you. You understand? Not everyone. And so what we really need to do, whatever happens here today and tomorrow with the events and all the work that they do, and I'd strongly recommend you go with Pat and go with Mal and work with these guys, because these guys are obviously legends. Whatever you do, make sure that you keep it up, because success is not a goal. It's an absolute responsibility. Absolute responsibility. And it's like going to the gym. You've got to keep going. Keep going. You don't go to the gym and say, I've done that, fit, no, to do this again, I'm out of here, that's finished. It's just the beginning. So your life's journey here, I think Mel also summed it up very well done and said, let's not make this some quick fix hit here. This is, anyone wants this, you've got to work at this, you've got to do something. But there's different from working at it and labouring. Really labouring. So how come this is like this? What else? Mindset. We've got some big ones. Mindset.
People we associate with.
Yeah, that's an environment. Environment's everything. Who's here with their partner today? Who's not here with their partner? Should be everyone else. Who doesn't have a partner? Oh, lonely people. Look at it. You're sitting with him.
I did meet it today.
There you go. Look at
She works quick.
Things are quick. Yeah, what Amanda had to say. Amanda was right onto it straight away. You just got rid of that truck and straight into this guy, Okay, so what I'm going to say to you is that, people worry about toxicity in the air and food and a whole range of things. They worry about overlying power things over their house and microwaves or whatever. A relationship that's bad is toxic. And a toxic relationship can do you more harm than any of that radiation. Just follow that conversation with me somehow. So what I'm going to ask you, if you do have a partner that's missing this and you want to be with that person, if it's just a handbag, it's okay. But if it's really someone that you really want, there's 4 times to be with your partner. When you get married, it's a good time. Another time is when you have a baby. That's always good to turn up. Even if you're a man, you sort of stand around a lot and get in the way, but then they yell at you a lot. Things like that. You did this. But it's actually one of those joys. I saw my children being born. It was the best thing ever in my entire life. Very cool. The third time is when you say goodbye to them, or they say goodbye to you, because you're usually together in some form, but one's in the box and one's standing by the little place, whatever that is. And the other time is when you play my video. Please play me first, right? And that's a time when I suggest for the men you get some candles, make some dinner, and bring this. And say, instead of a romantic movie tonight, a comedy, we're going to watch Roy. And the purpose of this is, like, I was fairly useless at the birth of the babies, and you might not want to be that participant in this either. However, I just want you to be there. Is it important for them to be there? I want you to be there because I'm looking for partnership. I'm looking for alignment. I'm looking to be in flow with you. Does that make sense? Now, what I want to do with this is tell you an important story around why it works with our company, and why we get such success. Is we do get people in flow, we get people in partnership, we get them to leverage their life, but very importantly, we get them to really truly do the thing that they're good at. And we get them to get other people who are good at stuff that they're not good at. Does that make sense to you? Who likes doing accounting, bookkeeping, and tax returns? And there's always some silly people who do this. And congratulations, you get a lot of people here. So what's your name?
Nadia.
Nadia, what's your name?
Peter.
Peter. And you've got a company?
Sole trader.
Sole trader? You do tax returns? You want to catch up with these guys. These are like worshipping. They like doing what you don't like doing. Who knows that doing accounts and stuff is important? Who knows that that's important? Yeah. Who knows also that it's your responsibility to do your tax return? Okay. The accountant is accountable. That's why he's called an accountant. You're responsible. You'd like him to be responsible, her responsible, but you're responsible. So, finding people to do stuff that you're good at, and that you're not good at, is one of the keys to leverage in our life here in the business we do. So one of the challenges here when you come, and I see people here at programs such as this, and I've never been to one of these, by the way, before, but I've been to my own one, and I've seen people who want to do everything, and I go, this is not right for you. There's something that you're good at, and that's what you want to stick to. So I want to talk a little bit about how this works for you. We call it the hot steam. I'll get up to it in a minute. I just want to talk about this. This is what about, we've got a number of you. You'll get them today if you wish, and in fact, anyone who gets anything from me will get one of these anyway. This is, we call it OneLife results, and this is just arbitrarily 3 people. I've got a bunch of them here as the champions. We've got the quantum group and various ones. All they are people who've been successful. And I start with the first one, Kelvin, and he's a guy who was the biggest skeptic in the room. Anyone here ever been a little bit skeptical about things? 70% of the population is, so I should get most of you. And I usually in my program I say, who's skeptical? But 70% put their hand up. And Mel was talking about that, about trust and how we've been, been. So I said, who's the most skeptical? He says, I'm the most skeptical, really skeptical. So I said, do you probably think this is not going to work? He said, that's right. I said, well, why don't we use you as an example? 90 days later, from my program, he made $1 million in 90 days. This is his story. Did it on the Gold Coast. He'd never done a transaction in real estate before, such as this, a commercial transaction, a subdivision on a shop in Broadbeach. And Tyson here, one of my able-bodied people were there and went through that whole process. It was fantastic, wasn't it, Tyson? And he got offered $1 million more than he still only had the contract, hadn't even paid for it. He used hardly any money. I think he used $1,000 to turn it into $1 million in 90 days. Being a skeptic as he is, after he did all the numbers, he said, that was a fluke, Roy. So we did it again. Done it 3-4 times since then. Doesn't say it's a fluke anymore. And now he's got a testimonial from him. This is an ordinary person being extraordinary. But this is not for everyone here. It may not be for you, because you might be better with business, or you might be better with trading, or you might be, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I'd like you to have a look and be open for a possibility, be open to all this conversation. But what we do when we have our one-on-one sessions is we do a profile on you and find out what's best for you. And we'll give you that guide. We'll find out who you really are. We do it with 4 different systems. You'll be amazed. You'll go, I've had people say, that's not like me, and his wife says, yes it is. Really? Yes, she says. Now she says yes, is that probably true? She who must be evaded always is true. You know, is this your wife? Yeah? See, this man, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul, what's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa. See, Paul probably even thinks he picked you, Lisa. He probably thinks he made the selection. He probably still thinks he decided to marry Lisa. Paul, you were selected. You were selected. It's a 100,000 year system for women. You get selected. Just be very grateful because you're obviously smiling men, so you've been together long.
33 years.
Who said it wasn't going to last? 33 years. Wow. You selected well. You did well. Mind you, there have been times when you thought, what was I thinking? That may have been the case. This morning, there you go. But she's obviously a stayer and doesn't need much, just a few crumbs every now and then. Just candles, Paul, quick candles. That's what and just look at her and listen. That would be a real breakthrough, just to hear. Massive, you can hear it. Massive. Men don't listen.
No.
Anyway, we know that when we do our trading, we work on the basis they're not listening at any. Most of them haven't listened to anything here today. Who thinks they're a good listener? Some of you are laughing at this. Who thinks they're a good listener? Put your hand if you think you're a good listener. Put your hand right. Let me see. Who doesn't think they're a good listener? Okay, who didn't hear what I said? Maybe because they didn't put their hands up. I'm going to do this again. Who thinks you're a good listener? Who's not a good listener? Okay, now I'm going to say most of you are poor listeners. Most of you. Let's play. Just real quick. This won't take a second. But play with me. Put your hands up like this. That means all put your hands up like this. All and say, okay?
Okay.
Watch. Put this on your chin. Here you go. Where's your chin? Now some know where their chin is. It's amazing. But I think their chin's up here for some strange reason. And why would you do this? As monkey do. Well, that's one thing. The smartest people in the room do this. The quickest thinkers. Because you can think 5 times quicker than I can speak. And what you do is make up the words. You make them up. Because you're filtering what I'm saying, because you're not really listening at all. You're choosing arbitrarily what you want to hear. And what you do this, when you do this, you choose based on not the present, but the past. Does that make sense? Which affects your future. And Mel talked about this, about bringing all the past down and all the things, and this mindset thing we're going to talk about here today is going to shift everything if you shift. And Mel said it about, you've got to change. In fact, I could hear in his mentoring, he talks to you and says, you've got to be prepared to change, otherwise I'm not going to take you on. I bet you he says that, and I've never been to his thing, I've never heard him, but I bet you he says that, because he knows that 98% of this is going to be about you. So really, this past is history and the future's mystery, and the present's a gift. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. The past is history, future's a mystery, the present's a gift. And the only way your money's going to come from is from the present, because you create it. I know there's still people out there trying to think about, how do I get some money back? You can't get any money back, it's gone. You can create new money, but you can't. I have people say, I'm going to make some money. You can't make money. The Mint makes money. And I know that I had lunch with Pat today, and he talked about the pathways. I thought, man, this man is so brilliant. He talked about not trying to make money, but building wealth. And he's a legend. He knows this. And the secret is you do too. You get mentored by him. The secret is you already know. What we've got to do is bring out that secret. Anyway, this guy, Galvin, did $1 million, the biggest skeptic in the room. Another lady here, another guy, Brian, he was a truck driver, and he did my program back in 2004 or 5. He's now got $8 million in real estate. Not a truck driver anymore. He gets $2 million a year in rent. $2 million. He said to me, you'll see him on this tape, on the thing. He said, Roy, I stopped them paying me monthly, it was taking too long. I get 50,000 a week. I had to ring the agent up. I said, I can't wait that long. I want my rent weekly. I said, sure. He came to Egypt with us on, we do little tours and things. We've got one coming up. We have a thing in our company that celebration is very important. But who likes travelling? Yeah. Who likes doing it tax-free? That's what we do. We had a cruise coming up next year. We'd love to have you on. Everyone here in Melbourne come with us. We've got 200 seats we've already booked. And we'll spend a morning doing a little bit of discussion after a beautiful breakfast and before lunch. And then we'll probably fit the pool in the afternoon sometime and probably see you for a minute or two in the afternoon. We'll talk about property, do a bit of trading, get your tax right, understand you're an international investor, global citizen, and operate like that. If the tax department could pay for 30% of that or 40% of that, would that be good?
Yeah.
And as long as you do it legally, correctly, properly, structurally, can that make a difference if it's a $5,000 holiday, $10,000, whatever it is? If it's $10,000 and you got to pay it in after-tax dollars, like $14,000, if it's tax paid, it could be like $7,000. Is there a difference between $7,000 and $14,000? Big difference. So he came to that with us, and pretty clever. Little Karen Martin, she's a beautiful girl, lady. She was working in a beauty parlour sort of thing with the ladies and doing all that stuff. And 6 months, and she said, "Look, boy, this is fantastic. I love it, but I'd like to have my own business. Could you help me?" She did my program only last year, in January last year. I said, "Sure." She said, "I'd like to buy, but they're like $200,000 to buy a salon, plumbing and everything." Her husband's a plumber. His back is going. He's 47 years old or something. Got kids. Don't have any money. By March, we had a business, her own salon. $100,000. She paid $10,000 for it. Brings in $2,500 a week. That's within 2 weeks she had producing that. And as she explains in this, she's now getting $6,000 a week from this salon with her and 2 part-time girls. And she's in the process now of buying the next one. But this time we're going to buy the building. And as you'll learn in my programs, we deal with real estate, and if who's in business here or wants to be in business, let me have a look. My clue, my thing, I'm sure it goes with Val because he's a business builder, is we encourage you to buy the building that you run the business in. You talked about McDonald's, that's the greatest success story in the world. Which business is McDonald's in? Real estate business, absolutely. Are they good at this?
Yes.
There's 33,000 of them. One opens every 17 hours. One every 17 hours on this planet. The greatest producers of food in the world, and Subway just knocked them off only just last year. But the biggest suppliers of food in the world, and the biggest distributors of toys in the world, and they give the toys away. And they're a real estate company that every 17 hours another one opens. They're going to open up 11,000 in China. Is that scary? Which brings us to that point about obesity. 18 million Australians are overweight. And for the first time in history of our planet, some of your children are going to die before you. The first time in human evolution, because of one thing: food, nutrition, and lack of exercise, basically. So OneLife, its stand is for health, well-being, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Healthy, wealthy, and the wisdom of that and how to make a difference. So we're all about showing up, stepping up, and giving back. So we're a very balanced organisation. So I'm going to show you today a little bit about money. But in the end, the idea of getting this is just to give it away, because you can't take it with you. You get born here with no hair, no teeth, wrinkly, and no money, and you leave pretty well much the same. I noticed with Mel, you talk about this guy and doing the hair thing, I'm thinking, and he made a joke about it, but also showed his #1 trainer was exactly the same as him. But must be go in the business, go shave your head. But he's all ready for his no hair part. I'm challenged myself. So what we've got to do is make sure that he won't die with no money. And obviously what he's doing with his daughter is just such a sensational exercise. And I'm so impressed with that. And I want to talk a little bit about my kids as well. In fact, the reason I'm here today is about your kids. And about your grandchildren. And about the ones that aren't even born. Have you got kids out of all this? Four. And one grandchild. Fantastic. But Paul, I've never met you before. I've never met you before either. But Lisa, it's just great to see you here. And I just go on energy, but these people got lovely energy. And so have you two. This man seems to love you as well. Have you got children? Four. And you got grandchildren too? Or just started? Who's also got children? Who's just practicing? She's still practicing. There you go. Keep it up, girl. Keep it up. Whatever. All right, so that's the purpose of this. And this lady, Karen, who's now got this business, her husband's been able to cut down on the plumbing and digging holes and stuff, because all the men we meet, by the time they're 45, 47 roughly, bits of them start to break now. Their legs aren't working as well, their back and they just can't lift that veil, tote that thing. And the women, stress in their life, they come out, they've got rash, they've got all sorts of things, they call it their stress rash. Remember, stress is a code to fear, it's their fear rash. It's not coping. And they start eating, and all this stuff happens. So we've got a big job ahead of us here with OneLife in not only getting the money right, we've got to get the health right, as well as the relationships. So they're all linked. So this is a great one, this Karen, her son is 14, we call him the Lantern, the Green Lantern. He comes and he's now working with us. And she just sent me a letter yesterday, you saw it, Karen, just about how good he was and how well he's just working with Karen and the team. And this young fella who, when he came, he was like this, and now he looks up, yep, and how can I help, where can I be? Just a miracle to see that environment you spoke about, the parent this. So let's have a look at this area we were talking about, how calm, and what you've said about, your education, you've said about your environment, you've talked about mindset, which is very, very true, and I also talked about your family and things. What I noticed about, well, maybe do it on the screen, might be even easier if you want to do that. No, yeah, I got it, okay. This is going to be good. Good luck, Mel. Okay, we call this the wall of fear. It's being built as we go, and I think Mel talked about it. It's not your fault. This is how you inherit this. And this is a wall of fear which you have to cross. And fear, has this got a thing to it? Is it like a buzzer? Yeah. Fear is spelled false evidence appearing real. And I know you've seen that before, but hear it. It's false. It appears false evidence appearing real. Okay. And it's so true. I mean, when I get to finish this, I'm going to talk to some of you about joining me and joining our company and joining our mission. Fear will come up. In fact, you'll be amazed how much fear you have. It stops you, blocks you. And that could be fear of success as much as fear of failure. It could be fear of all sorts of things. And if you deny you have fear in you, I'll only ask you one thing, do you lie about other things? Everyone has fear.
That's right.
Now, the interesting thing about fear is that it is false, and it is part of the mindset. And that doesn't mean to say don't, acknowledge it, because you may have good reason to be frightened just to go and do something. But that's why I think we call it gap technology. There's a gap between you and where you want to be, and there's a great big hole, and there's crocodiles, and we've got to build a bridge and walk across with you. That's what our mentors do. That's what our coaches do. And every single person here that wants to be with us will be coached for this, to get this, because that's the one that you'll get lost on. 80% of the people who used to do Lachlan's program stopped before they even started because they couldn't get the machine to work or something happened. And what we've built is coaches around that to make sure that bridge is met. There are people who buy programs and they open it and they close them because they just get too frightened. This coaching is so important. So a 95%er is a PAYG, pay as you go, and there's one of those JOBs, just over broke. Now you've heard that before, but here it just over broke. It is, and it's not that it's against anyone to have a job, it's just that you get stuck in it, and if you get stuck, that's the end of the game. And some people proudly say, I've been working for the same company 21 years. Well, it's the same year 21 times. And some of you had 33 jobs trying to find the one that you want. The average person has 7, 8, 9, 10 different jobs, vacations, and nothing to do where they started because they're trying to search out who they are. Now, I want you to stop, just take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to listen. Know where your chin is. Listen, you need to know your destiny. You need to know what you're good at. And only do that. You know, Amanda spoke so well, by Mal, that just concentrate on one thing. You heard that again and again and again? Get your niche and do it. Or you want to get your life niche. You want to get your destiny niche. You want to get what, as probably Pat was talking about, the pathway, the one's going to work for you. Now, it could be property, could be shares, could be business, could be, but don't try and do them all. You chase 3 rabbits, you get no rabbits. You'd get good at something. And Mal's whole story is domination. Well, why don't you dominate what you're good at? Forget, I'm not saying forget the domination of the market. You can dominate a market if you dominate what you're good at. Get real good at it. Now, some of you here have moved down to, from 95%, we become a sole trader. Where's our sole traders? The ones who are in their own businesses themselves. Put your hand nice so I can see. Okay, it's almost half the group here. You guys think you're in business, I guess. And I'm going to suggest to you most of you aren't. Most of you've got a job in a business. And you can test tomorrow. Just ring up and say, hello, this is me. I won't be in for 3 months and hang up. This is on Monday. If they say, we need you down here, then you know what you've really got. You've got a job. If it's your wife, who is this, then you've got a real problem. What it's really saying is that you've got a job, and you've got the worst job in the world, you've got the worst boss in the world, you've got yourself. Now with Mal's stuff, he's going to help your marketing, and that's going to help that business, and that's going to help a lot. But don't kid yourself, you haven't got a business at all. The day you've got a business, there's a change. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about mine. In my situation, I do about $30 million a year, and I have, me on a PAYG too. In other words, I'm here, and I've got some, little sole trading businesses as well. I've got some of them, and I'm only new at this. I'm 40 odd years. I'm learning every day. I get paid about 1.2 million, 1.25 I think I got. This I do $50,000 diamond mentoring situations, and I got about 40, 45 people. I've got a couple in this room right now, and they pay me to get results, and I love working with them. And we have a deal. They pay $25,000, and then if we make more than 100,000. If they make more than 100, that's just recording. We've just got a lovely person walking through. It's good. Welcome. If they make 100,000 or more, they pay me the other 25,000, and it's their condition if they do. I give it to them option. Everyone so far has got one who's maybe. Oh, you lost something? Are you okay?
Yes,
Okay. Good. Welcome. So, however, in saying this. One day this is going to end for me. I won't want to do it, or someone. Does that make sense? Yes. And I'm going to say same for you. This wall's waiting for you. And one day when this ends for you, it's not a 95% chance that your income will stop. It's a 99.99% chance, unless one thing happens, and that you become an investor. And I just say that word again, investor, as opposed to investing. People think investing is something. Investor is a place of beingness. Investor is a doing person who gives money to other people. Now, some of you have tried this out, given it to some people and said, look after my money. Like some fund manager or something. You all know that you've lost probably 20-30% of your money on your super fund, and I think Mel was talking about that too. Who understands that you've lost money on your super fund in the last 3 years. Everyone has, if you haven't got your hand up, haven't looked. And some of you might even have a mindset that says, well, it doesn't matter, it's only a small amount. Well, that's a good mindset, isn't it? How's it working out for you so far? See, your super fund's going to become part of an important strategy, and one of the things we teach, who's got their own self-managed fund here, by the way? Wow, we've got some very clever people. Good. Your super fund, and you're an accountant, so you know this, under special rules, can invest into property. Can even be a co-investor. It can even borrow money. It can trade shares. And it can equally lose it as simply as the others did, without any help, without even the fees. I know the industry has it that you must have 100,000, 200,000. Who's heard that you must have $100,000, $200,000 and cost a fortune, all that stuff?
Yeah.
All due respect, that's not true. You can get a fund for $1,000. In fact, there's a group offering it for nothing right now, as long as they can do the audit for $1,000 next year. And it's not how much you have, it's what you're going to put in there. And if I could, and I've got a dealer's license in security, so I'm not going to give you advice today. It's a general discussion here. But so I don't know any of you really. However, apart from my client, once you're here. But I would say, if you want to take a note, if you've got a super fund and you've got it in that balance fund, and that we've been saying this for 3 years to our clients, put it into cash. One email to the fund manager and convert it into cash. So it's in the bank earning interest. And I did that in my fund in 2007 because we were in the business, and our traders were saying, this is amazing, we can't see numbers doing this ever before, we've never seen graphs like this ever. So the advice to our clients was to liquidate those funds and put them into cash, which was fairly high in the market in actual fact. And this is a time when Costello was saying, this is your last chance to put $1 million in. Last chance, and people did, and they lost 300, 400,000 of that money. So right now it's not too late. Put it into cash and have it so you can play the game again. It's not how much you make, it's how much you're losing here. You saw a picture of Warren Buffett there. And he has 2 rules, if you want to write them down. Number 1 rule, he's the second richest man in the world. Number 1 rule, never lose your capital. Does that make sense to everyone? Never lose your capital? Second rule, never lose your capital. Same as the first rule. So becoming an investor. Now, I was talking a little bit about me. I have 24 businesses, I have 69 entities, and the only thing I do is this. The only business I'm actually interested in is this. My mission's about your children. My mission is about the grandchildren. My mission is that this has got to end, this plan, which is a 99% chance that your children are going to be pensioners. And you spend a fortune educating them, and they end up, because they've only got a job here. Does that make sense to everyone? I think everyone understands but don't have the plan to how to do it. Let's have a look what this means. So we're looking at property and shares. Well, here's a little guide here, $25,000, $50,000 worth of income. We just use as a guide. And somewhere between $7,500 and $50,000 over as an investor, as opposed to working. It works for you rather than you work for it. Over the other side, and it's the old Kiyosaki kind of story, which I just got some news today from Pat. He's gone bankrupt. Filed for bankruptcy today. Robert Kiyosaki. Some story, and I'm sure there's a good story about it.
One of his companies.
One of his companies filed for bankruptcy, which it was going to have an impact on him, obviously. And didn't want to pay a bill. How much was the bill, Pat?
24.6 million.
Wasn't a lot of money. So, if you're working for the money, things like that can happen. And it is inevitable, that when this stops, whereas this can happen without you, and if it's structured well, so he won't go bankrupt, the company went bankrupt, so he's not filing at all. He's going to step away from that because he's structured well. Now, over this side of the equation, of course, is people, money, and people working for you. Now, we all understand that intellectually, but to do with the job is another complete different plan. So, who would think, and I just want to be reasonable here, we've seen millions of dollars and people doing crazy things and stuff. You know, we've got a lady here, and you'll get this one, Sue. When she came to me, you know, Sue, lucky she was a teacher. She used to be a teacher at school. She had children and stopped work for 10 years because I wanted to be with the kids. That was a very important thing. When she did her program, she said, do you think I can make this work? And she was married to a guy who was an executive in a company, a multinational. I said, what do you want to do? She said, I want to make $20,000. Because if I had $20,000, I could do something. I said, sure. Well, she made $27,000 the first year. But she had a condition. She said, I can only work 100 days. Only work 100 days. Right. She said, I've got kids, I've got, you know, time off from school, I've got all that stuff. I said, okay. Next year she made 200,000 doing our program. Following year, 400,000. I said, so how you going? She said, you still doing? She said, yeah, I'm doing the same. I might have to cut it down though, as far as time goes. I've got to get a life. I'm doing 100 days. I said, what do you want to do? She said, I want 88 days. I only want to work 2 days. That year she did 1.6 million. Last year, when we're video, she did 2 million in 88 days in a year. She's an ordinary woman being extraordinary with extraordinary systems. Who's fascinated by this one? She tells you how she does it here. In fact, when I'm interviewing her, she's talking away. I've just a little DVD, and you show this to your partners who missed this today. Make sure you get the candles and get a good dinner. And ask them, you know, where the chin is. But you could say, you know, here's an ordinary person, look at that. And all these people are different, you know. Another one here is guy's a real estate agent, and he'd never done a transaction for himself properly. I mean, his first transaction did 40,000. Same tape, there's a guy who's a fireman. And he's got 2 kids, and during the course of this program, he's had 2 more. He started in 2005 or 6 or something. And when he came, he bought a property off the plan, which is something we don't really want people to do, in New Zealand before the earthquake. And he also did a deal with his father, which alienated his father because promises were made and it didn't work, and a whole range of things, you know what that's like. So he came with this stuff. And now he has over $5 million in real estate and an income stream of $18,700 a month net. Still a fireman. And he loves it. And he's had 2 children, and his wife obviously looks after the kids. And here's his story. So if you think that could be worthwhile for you, and we can get this started with the smallest amount of interest. But as Pat says, you've got to really want this badly. Because it's not going to happen, because you can come to all the seminars in the world. It won't help you much. It's the only thing is real action. But looking at this, we have people who, you know, think, well, that's cool. And others, you know, think, well, gee, I need more than that. Who knows that there are people on the planet earning, you know, like 500,000 a year? Who knows people like that? Who knows people, there's people not just 500, they have 5 million a year. Who knows people, there's people, every one of our bank CEOs gets more than 5 million. Who knows that there's people earning 500 million a year? Oprah Winfrey earned 500 million last year. And who would like to know her secret? Because I'm going to put it up on the board in a few minutes if I get every hand up. Okay, you're in? Good. Just checking your chin. So, her secrets are and everyone that I know knows the secret of wealth that does it. But everyone who is 95% who doesn't know the secret, was never told the secret, and the ones who are doing it consistently not only know it, either consciously or unconsciously, they live it. And once you have this and actually implement it, it's just so simple. Very simple rules. Because one of the plans we have in OneLife is to have your yearly income paid every month. And if we just take, who would like the yearly income paid every month? Just curious if that would be good. Okay, all hands up on this one. And although we see some smiling faces, because you actually are already blended into knowing this is possible, but when you say this to a new audience, I know Pat and Mel would see this happen and others, They all laugh and think, that's not possible. Now, we already know that people earning, if we take the average income, say 50,000 a year, there are people on 500,000, they couldn't possibly work 10 times harder than the person on 50,000, could they? It's not physically possible. So how do they do it? And this is the word. They have a different mindset. And they have mentoring and have tools that actually do this. But the tools by themselves are useless without the mentoring, as Mel's been saying all along. And what I'm really saying, most important, I want you to write down this word, your identity. Who are you in this? Your identity is actually creating this outcome for you. And in OneLife, in our Life Magic program, what we do is we actually go through your identity. And not to try and change it, or just know that you are who you are in this. And I'll just quickly show you what I mean by that. Because in this room we have the hots. We have hares, we have owls, we have tortoises, we have squirrels. The hares are in a hurry. They're already ready to go out and start doing things now. They don't even want to finish the seminar. Let's get underway with this. And the squirrels are counting their nuts. The winter's coming. They make great accountants. They're very careful. They worry a lot. In fact, they usually marry a hare, which is interesting in itself. And because the hare's not worrying, they've got to worry for the hare as well. They've got to worry twice as much. Then we get owls who sit in the tree and go, who? What? They don't move much. They're ancient wisdom. Ancient. And they're very clever. And you want to listen to owls, because we bring owls into our business management programs, and we bring them in later to get it all sorted out. Hey, welcome.
Hi.
And we get tortoises. The tortoises, they take the house with them everywhere they go. And they move very slowly. And but they always win the race eventually. And you'll know you're a tortoise. You've still got boxes at home you haven't opened, but you've got them just in case. It's interesting too when a hare marries a tortoise. Let's go. And the tortoise, come on, pack the things in. Come on, hurry up, let's go. We brum brum, and take off, and all the drive, come back, get there, get to the motel. Okay, we're all here. Okay, where's the shampoo? You wouldn't let me pack it. Anyhow, stuff. So, hares are visionary. Hares are visionary. They see things. They're great, usually often talking to people, and they're the ones we use for the negotiations. Who are good negotiators? Who likes people working with people? Between nice and I. Who likes counting? Who likes doing the feasibility studies, having a look behind the scenes? Let's have a look at the squirrels and stuff like that. Yeah, checking things out. Mind you, we get hairy squirrels. That's very interesting. One foot on the accelerator, one at the brake at the same time. Wrong. Car internally hemorrhages. And the husband's going, yeah, that's my wife. When you see this process, let me just gift this to you now. I'll give it to you. Would you like this? Well, I'm going to let you just think about this, but I'm going to gift you a program here. I'm going to give it to you too. Just to see whether this would work. Teaching people have been very interesting. And you do this, if on the basis I give it to you, that you would do the profiling and check it out and have a conversation with us about this, and you too, you'll be amazed what you find out. Because once you find out where you fit in this is only one of the profiles. I also use the discs, the dominant nature, the inspirational ones, and the very secure people and the compliance ones. All of this determines how best you are in this. In fact, I changed my presentation today because of what I heard today. And I heard a lot of things going on. And what I realised as sitting there is that this identity is going to be very important, because I want to work with Pat, I want to work with Mal, I work with these teams of people who do eBay and all the rest and whatever, and how best could you work? Where are you going to fit?
Yeah.
And my meeting that I want to have, and our coaches that are here today and others that we've got, that I'd like you all to have at least one coaching session just to sort this out. Who would like to know that, by the way? I'm just curious. Yeah, look at that. Because once you know the identity, the good thing is, with the mindset, you can switch it. You can you want to build on your strengths and get rid of everything that's in the way. Because often, you know, they're flogging a dead horse, you know, when you put the ladder against the wrong wall and you're climbing, you've got to come down again. You know, you're working. I have clients who, I remember one girl said, she said, do you like your job? She said, I hate it. She was an accountant. She said, what do you do? She says, I couldn't work out what to do. And I had to choose, you know, that path when you're like 14, she was 16, 17, she had to choose the university. She chose accountancy. I said, why did you choose? She said, I couldn't think. So I asked my brother, what should I do? My brother said, accountancy. I said, right, and I did it. 17 years I did that. I said, how old was your brother? At that time, he was 16, 17, yeah, he was 14. What would he know? Nothing. But you know how that you don't know anything at that age. You just choose and you think. And it's like when you get married, it's almost accidental who you live next to or who you bumped in at the pub or something. You know, so much of it's circumstantial. OneLife, we're really about taking charge of your life. You take charge of your own life and get your own destiny. That's scary in itself. That should bring up enough stuff. So the hot steam is going to be pretty important. Just to finish this off, I told you this mindset, you were so far ahead of me here. There it is. What wealth is. Wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. What you do is you add value, you leverage that value, and you're consciously in control of it. That's the secret formula for all wealth. And Mel knows it, Pat knows it, every wealthy person I know knows it. Every person consistently knows it. This it's not a job to assets, it's an asset to income, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but there's the leverage graph. And really what today's about is using $1 to convert this into $1 million. You don't need any more than $1.
Sonia?
Of course I will. You're another one I'm going to give this free to.
Thank you.
It's good. Accountants understand the value of money.
Yes, I said good.
You're going to be good. So there's 3 people we've got here that are doing this. Now, let me just talk about this dollar. See this? Everyone seen one of these? I showed this to my son when he was 3. I was at McDonald's. And we just used one of these. And I was explaining to him the 30-cent cones of ice cream. One for him, one for me, one for Jessie, his little sister. And we had a 10-cent change. He was looking at this money. And I had another 10-cent here. And I said, you know what this is? And he said, that's $1, Dad. And I said, yes, it is, mate. It is. I said, what can you do with that? And he said, you can buy some more ice creams, Dad. I said, you could, mate, you could. However, we could teach you to use this as a money seed, and you're 3, in 7 years, you're going to be a very big boy. You're going to be 10, very big. And this dollar will be $1 million. He said, $1 million, Dad? I said, yep. He said, $1 million? I said, yep. He said, is that a lot of toys, Dad? I said, mate, that is an entire toy shop. He was very excited to listen. So I got this piece of paper, I just drew $1 like this, and I turned this like this, and I said, the first year, I'm going to turn that into $20,000. Now, you had no idea what $20,000 was. I said, it's a lot of money. It's like the little seed. This is a money seed, it's going to grow, it just pops through, and 2 little leaves come, just hardly anything there. And each year, mate, we're going to double this. Each year. Now, I didn't say compound rate of return, but you didn't understand double. So you're smarter than that. If I double 20, I get 40. If I double 40, I get... Let's see how clever you are. It's going to get harder. Double 80. 160. Double 160. You guys are geniuses. Double it again. 640. Fantastic. Double it again. You? Very clever, man. $1.28 million. How do you eat an elephant? Small chunks at a time. You break anything down, you can get it. And what I want you all to do is start with a fresh $1. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you've got 20,000, 160, a million, or 10 million. If I was working with Pat, I'd start him off with $1. If I was working with Mal, I'd start him with $1. I'm very happy to do that. Fresh money. And the first plan is to do this. This is the hardest thing to do. There are some in the room that don't have the $1. They've got more debts than they've got assets. Who understands that word? Not you, but who understands what I've just said then? More debt than they've got assets. So whatever you've got, keep it, but if you can get together $1. On my son's 16th birthday, he's got $10.7 million. He's just turning 19. Sorry? He's up for adoption. One of my clients' daughters has snaveled him pretty quickly. I saw that. And they met when he was 6. She's a beautiful girl, great values with her family. And my little Jessie, $7.2 million when she was 14. So it seems to work for women as well. Jessie's turning 16 next month. Harrison's turning 19 next month. We don't tell the public any more about what they do. This is all in trusts and structures, and I can tell you, I never gave them money apart from $1. I only ever used $1.
And they've done
Well, let's talk about what they did. They were 3. There are 2 reasons my son and daughter are in this position. I'm going to suggest one would be me. Would that be a reasonable statement?
Yes.
There are only 3. And I believe we are the best company in the country, if not the world, for this area. It's very different from most. We have all of the one-stop shop. You know, we're the only company that has its own accountancy practice right here in Melbourne, has it in Sydney and in Gold Coast. My accountant, I started this accountancy practice off some 22 years ago. I was sick of hearing clients tell me they couldn't find a good accountant. I got sick of hearing it, so I started my own. I'm not an accountant. I never want to be an accountant. I've never done a tax return. Never filled one in, ever. Don't want to learn. I want to leverage my life. I want to add value, leverage, and have conscious control. I'm very interested in knowing what the figures look like. And I'll share with you some of our systems. We've got incredible systems to run a business. I can run 5 of my major corporations, turning over millions and millions of dollars, and it takes me 90 seconds a week to look at it. I've got systems that I've developed for ordinary people like me who have trouble with spelling and stuff like that, and not very good with computers. And by giving me this system and giving it to you, you can run your businesses, because one of the failures that happens here for most businesses is that they don't have the right material to know, and it's not their thing, and you know, they're working away, and usually the thing that they never thought about was the one that took them out. You can relate to that in some way. So, we're the only company that I know of that owns its own buildings and its own. We own Hunter Valley Retreat in up there at the Hunter Valley. It's a 100-acre property. We own the one next door as well. We bought the cabins from the Olympic Games, had them sent up there. We've got our own motel, we own it. We have done for this particular property for over 12 years. We're the only one. We own our buildings. We own the building next door and the one across the way in Gold Coast, where we brought our head office, which we started in Sydney, but when I bought Bangalow up there in the Byron Bay area, it's just too good to. You know where Bangalow is in Byron Bay? You know, it's a fantastic place to go there. In fact, Pat was telling me at lunch that everyone lived in the Gold Coast. In Melbourne, all these people, I said, they're smart people. So he's had the best, in my view, I'm biased, the best advice. Would that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
You know, structurally, everything, protection of assets, all that, leverage, you name it. If I look around the room, there's one thing that he has an advantage. I said there was 2, so leaving me out, leaving the company out, leaving all of this, there's one thing he has an advantage of you. When we started him at 3 years old, so what was that advantage? He had what? Time. He had a lot of time. And most people say that, and he did. But it wasn't time, it's something about his age though. Innocence. He had no fear. Can you see? See, when I talk to you, I've got to talk to your mother and father through your DNA. You're checking, does that make sense? I don't know. Because you're thinking backwards about all the pain and what Mel talked about, trust and how I can't do this. And as you're sitting here talking, you're saying, this is wonderful, but it'll probably work for everyone else, but not me. Well, what if it could be you that we have on this DVD? Who would like to be the one that says, hey, I met Roy back in 2012 and I did $1. Hey, well, let's put your hands down, you haven't asked. And we, over the next 7 years, did $1 million. In fact, I'm going to ask you a better question. Who'd like to do it in 5 years? Get more hands up. And do it with ease and grace, effortlessly. If you're struggling and working hard and doing it, it's all too painful, isn't it? Because if you've got it clear, working for the money isn't helping. It doesn't help at all. In fact, you know, you want the money working for you. This mindset is a true plan, but you must be coachable and willing to be mentored. Mal has been saying it all the way through. He wouldn't even take you on. And our company will just do a little edge into that to do that with you. But I think what's most important is we sort out who you are in this and what's best for you and what pathway to take, which probably, Pat was talking about yesterday. It was no accident that he spoke about that. No accident I had lunch with him to tell me it's no accident you're here. I'm so grateful. And Melbourne is probably our least performing state we have. And I'm here back on the 1st of December. Tomorrow I'm speaking to a larger audience than this on an impact program. And I would love to invite you guys to some of these programs. They're free here in Melbourne. Because we want to build this so powerfully. So my question really is, why can't this be you? Why can't this be you? Now, I want you to really think about this, because right now the windscreen wiper should be going yes, no, yes, no. And there's part of you that would want this so badly, and that part's hearing this. There's another part that's really scared. So acknowledge that fear is welcome here. Fear is the inverse of, you know what the inverse of fear is? Faith. It's not courage. People think it's courage, it's faith. Believing in the impossible, believing in the invisible, believing in miracles, believing just like you're a miracle. Having faith, which is built on trust. And when the light's on, there's no darkness. When faith is present, there is no fear. There is no dark switch, there's only a light switch. Always only ever had been a light switch. Never been a dark switch. So what we're going to do about this, I want to show you a couple of things. We haven't got a lot of time. Maybe just show them just the property. We do property transactions. We do them with $1. We do them with $1,000. This $1 million was made with $1,000. In fact, he used $100. Does that surprise you? One of the tools we use is RP data. Agents pay $10,000 for this, $200 and something a week. We provide it to our clients for $40 a week. And Melbourne's a very interesting state. That's how you get information here. This is a house. I hope it's not someone here who owns this property. Please keep it to yourself if you do. But it's a 3-bedroom, one bathroom, one garage house. It looks kind of cool there. And this is the history of this house. And I won't bore you with it. It went to auction and failed. It was bought. Any offers over 380 at this point. Start up at 380 here and offers, and nothing's happened with it. Still for sale. This is the house. This is down the street. You can get all this. It's all part of the program. There's the house. What's interesting about the house, that's the backyard. This is inside the house. I can get in your house in about 7 minutes if you've bought it in the last 15 years to 20 years. I can do this in minutes and check out. There's 259,000 houses in this country on the market, and 20% of them this month will be sold under the market. 30,000 houses. We buy low, sell high. It's a very simple process. We make our profit before we begin. Does that make sense? There is no growth in this real estate market. It's actually falling. And I feel for anyone who's got negatively geared properties. Just the word itself is scary enough. Do not buy negative geared properties. Do not do this. Everyone makes money except you. And most accountants, unfortunately, and financial planners and advisors are doing this. It's just such an unfortunate area for you. It was great in the good old days, but those days are over. With high inflation, inflation's low, and it'll stay low. And in our trainings, we'll spend time and show you truly what's going on. You can do this in Melbourne within 5k of where you live. You don't have to go and buy in Alice Springs or in America or any of this. Don't fall for any of that stuff. Truly control your assets, add value, and leverage that asset. That's the rules here. Ordinary house. A lot of money you made in this house. There's 100,000 profit in this transaction. Now, this is the house. You'll see there's the drawing of the site plan. Oops. Hang on. I'll just quickly show you here, but there's the drawing. You see how the house is taken up. There's the land. Let's have a look what's really happening. There's the house. How much is left in the back? Another house. Most people don't realise, but the council rules have changed, and legislation state, which is overruling the council, says you can put a house on the back of that without council approval. All say again. I don't hear what? I love when shock happens. Without council approval. Oh, let's say it again. You're an accountant, aren't you? You're an accountant, aren't you? Say, tax is optional. See, that's the third. Can you say that? Tax is optional.
Tax is optional.
Yeah, most accountants, they go. They can't breathe. How many tax deductions are available for PAYG?
They're getting harder to find.
Getting harder. How many say, when you see the average tax return, work-related deductions, what, 4 or 5, I'm talking categories. 6, 7, 10 tops. If you've got a business, a few more. If I told you truth, our accountancy practice never had an issue with the tax department, has a perfect record. There are 240 deductions available for PAYG and another 260 if you've got an ABN. Who's interested in knowing about that? I'm just curious. Who's got a mobile phone? Who uses it for business sometimes? Who claims a double deduction for that? Double means twice. People say double, I mean 2 times, twice. I don't know else how to say this. That was available for 7 years. That means you can claim the entire bill twice. Most accountants don't know that you could do that. Is that annoying? If it's like $2,000 a year for 7 years, $14,000 worth of deductions at, your rate, times 2. We'll take a deep breath in. Keep breathing, it's very important to breathe. Some people get cranky now. And only 2 things shift people: anger, pain or pleasure. Like pain where they are, I'm going to kill that accountant. To pleasure, I'm going to the happy land of Roy's Cruise. Who's got a laptop computer? Who uses that for emails, business and stuff like that? Who claimed the double deduction for purchasing that? Gazetted at the same time. The laptop we brought down here, I bought 4 of those. They're like were $2,000 each, and I got $1,700 back for buying it. 4 times. Is this annoying enough? Am I stirring you up? You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. You understand? See, the people in this room, they don't even go to an accountant. They get their mother-in-law to do their tax return, or worse still, they do it themselves. Or they go to ITP or something. It's dangerous. Imagine Jamie Packer going to HIP. Here's a wheelbarrow we back. He wouldn't do that. I heard Pat saying something the other day on our mentoring program about new idea. I didn't know someone else had used that line. I've been saying that for ages, and it's just interesting to hear it again. But the people who buy, new ideas, 95%ers, and there's no idea, is there? So Jamie Packer wouldn't go to HR Block or ITP. He might own it, but he'd never go there. Understand? So what am I saying? Who knows that in America your house is a tax deduction, principal place of residence if you borrow money? Who knows in Australia your house is a tax deduction? Yep, I found out about that in 1986, bought my house in Mossman. For 28 years I claimed deductions for the entire house, including the mowing of the lawns, guttering, the pool, the television, the cutlery, china, and then mortgage. Oh. The tax department came in and looked, went through our place, said, "Good boy, Roy, you're absolutely clear. We wish you wouldn't keep telling that story." I still tell it. Do you think Ben, the Kerry Packer of those days, knew about it? Of course, he claimed polo ponies as well, as I did with my helicopter, as he claimed his. Tax is optional, truly optional. And although some of you might not be thinking too greatly about this at this moment, what I'm going to say is we start building this kind of wealth, you're going to have a tax problem, a tax issue. Who's learning something here? Just curious, you're learning anything? The other thing I just want to, I've got only minutes left here, but what I want to say to you is, those of you who've got your house in your own name, I think we should all pray. That house is going to be taken off you, or very easily taken off you. And some of you have been to people who said, oh, well, you can turn it into a trust and it'll cost you stamp duty to do the transfer. And what it will do is, unfortunately, you'll have to pay capital gains tax, then you have to refinance it. Who's heard stories like that and don't do that? And a lot of you know, who thinks they probably would rather have it protected, by the way, as well? Well, I can show you, all that tells me again is that you're getting very poor advice. You know, if Mel or Pat want me to show them, because I'm sure they've got lots of assets, and people here, I'll do it for nothing for you. It's very, very inexpensive to do the structure on that. Very inexpensive. And you don't have to pay stamp duty. There is no capital gains tax. There is no revaluation. There's none of that, and you're fully protected.
Oh,
Who'd like to know how to do that?
yep.
Very simple process. No, it's not an investee trust, no. And there are many different things. I've seen some, and we have to go and redo them. We've been doing this a long time. When you've got 69 companies yourself and you're doing 30 odd million, and you've been doing it for 40 years, I've seen every one there is. And I've seen every bit of legislation there is too. And I've got the best people, and you come to our company, you get the benefit of all that. Just like when you go to Mel, he's seeing the best people. This is like Amanda gets all that from him, you see. So she doesn't have to reinvent it, she can just go straight to a source there.
Yeah.
Same as us. This little plan, I want you to involve yourself in. We didn't get time to talk about things, but you come to some of the things, and hopefully we'll be seeing you again. And the idea is that we'll have a relationship and we'll build this with you. And we'll do business, we do trading as well. But I just want to show you a little plan, a game plan we have. This little thing, Dyson just did some plan on the way down just to make it pretty for us to get us to OneLife. Life Magic Package. No, I want us to have a look at the other one, the future. This is a package while he's doing it, changing it for us. Just put the other one on for us. We've got a package, and my intention that every one of you guys leaves here with our abundance package. Every one of you. And this is a little plan. Got me and my wife, a very handsome man here, and DVDs. We have a time management system so you can have time to do this. If you only had time to do the time management program, you'd be really good. If you don't find the time to do it, you haven't got time to do the time management program because you're just too busy. So that's why it's here. So this is please play me first. You know when all else fails? Do this. You know, instructions. So you have to do your blue form, and for an appointment, a one-on-one, you're going to be coached. They're going to talk to you about your position. And as embarrassing as it is, like the doctor, you take all your clothes off. We've seen plenty of naked people financially. Every bump there is. I'm talking to a guy who's got $440,000 worth of credit card debt. $440,000, $126,000 a year in payments before any principal's paid. And we turned him around in 90 days. He had two properties with a mortgage greater than his debt. So you think you've got some problems? Look at him. Bring me your sick, bring me your dying. I fix anything. I can rebuild you. $6 million man. We can change this. We have the technology. Who is that old that can remember Steve? Oh, you are so out of it, baby. Oh, this is you've made my day. This is the one this is the strategic spending. We get you to become a strategic spender, not a blower of money. You don't have to be an accountant. The Hares are not interested in this conversation. They already left the room. They just want to get the money now. But you get a squirrel to do this for you. This is a couple of the DVDs I've been talking about. They'll come in the pack for you. This is the one on Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Who knows the book? Do you think it's a good book? Tell me one of the 13 secrets. Good work. Most people have no idea. That's why it says, please play me 10 times. Every chapter starts off with a secret. And this one is The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale, which is the original secret. That's that's in it. That particular one changed my life. It's like a lightning bolt when I was 19. Kid, didn't have a job, no money, bang. Became a millionaire. I was 19, no money, I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. I made it 28 with $1. Yeah. I'm proud of that, thank you. And in those days, it's about 10 million in today's dollars. It was like going from $1 to 10 million, because this is back a long time ago, 1945 model. Some of you still think of I got it on a 78 record. Some of you too old even know what a 78 is. Anyway, all here is good. And this is a plan. It's a step-by-step process on what to do and where to start and how to get it done. It's a program, but a step-by-step program. And you'll be coached through this. And this is how to borrow money from the bank. This is how to get money. Some of you people can't get money. Some of you got bad debt. I'll fix the debt for you. I'll get you back as a clean skin. Start fresh with $1.
Yeah.
This is how to get a wealth account, a money magnet. I built this 40 years ago using your bank. These are sensational plans that have been available. Like all the stuff, it's not, as Mel said, it's not new. It's been around for ages. Just get you in action. I want to enroll your children in this. This is your blue form. Why is it called a blue form? Because it's blue. And the blue form is blue because it's in the blue form. And what it's got is 6 things in it. And this is the summary of the 6 things. And maybe quickly write them down. There's only 6 things. I'm saying quickly, you'll get it anyway. Assets, income, tax, cash, super, tax, and last one, your credit rating, or the amount of redraw you have. They're your dashboard of your money.
What were they again?
Your assets, your cash that you have, your income, net, your tax position, your superannuation, and your redraw credit. That is the 6 things that this is all about. Of course, you were taught that at school, but you had some kind of vague. This is the accounting. This is like, And after, when you look at this, you say, I've been working for 20 years and I've got a set of suitcases and a stereo and $1.50 in the bank. You know, it's like, hello, what's been going on? And it's not to judge you, criticize you. 95% are like that. Most of you are 3 days away from your last paycheck to survive. If it was taken off you, you'd be in terror. This is for the businesses. We call them enterprises. Pat, you said if I could have just a little bit. What have I got before they'll go?
What do you need?
I need 15 minutes.
Okay.
Who's okay with 15 minutes, please? Because there's something very important coming up that you guys are going to see with Pat afterwards, and bear with me for this. I'll do as quick as I can. I'll promise you. Give me a clock, like you said, the clock will be 15. This is for enterprise because this is important. This is why, and this is my secret to how I run them. How I do 69 businesses and how I could be here. And you notice the phone's not ringing and they're not coming in and making me do things. There's this pile of returns I've got to, and it's truly this high to sign. That's all I do. Once a year, thank goodness. But this is important how to do it. In this is also your goals and what you're going to do. 7-year plans, a whole lot of things. Like Mal and Pat, we begin with the end in mind. We start 7 years from now. In 7 years, you're all going to be 7 years older. Imagine that. How scary is that? Look in the mirror. And we work backwards. We go, what would you have in 7 years if it worked all right? And with your new identity, how would we go? And then what would we do in 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1? What are we going to do in the next 30 days? And that's what there's a lot of stuff here, but that's what the last part of this is. Your 180-day plan to financial freedom. And hear me, I want to say it again. Your 180-day to financial freedom. How long?
180 days.
To financial freedom. So it's not 17 years of psychotherapy. It's 180 days. The first quarter, we clean the mess up. Everyone in this room has a mess. You haven't done something. There's always a mess. We clean it up. Our team come in there, help you clean the mess up. Most of it's very simple. Just getting your house in order. Second quarter, we get you into action. How important is action? It's everything. Wealth is action. Precise action. If people get motivated. You're motivated an idiot, you've got a motivated idiot. You don't need to be a motivated idiot. You need to be in action precisely with guidance, mentoring, coaching, intelligent, and doing the direction, moving in the direction you're good. But your identity shows up. Does that make sense? So all these DVDs are really designed for people who are in a hurry, and there's a 180-day plan. The first quarter, clean the mess up. Second quarter, get in action. Third quarter, money. We're looking for profit. Now, we're not talking millions. Some of these people did that. This is not a get rich quick. This is a get wealthy slowly and keep it plan. We're doing this a long time. There's accidents that happen. You get in the traffic, you have an accident, good. And some of you could, but I'm happy with 7 years. I'm happy with 5. I'll show you a plan in a minute. It's the overview. And this whole process of doing this, we have this as my gold card. You take it with you everywhere you go. I have it as an app as well. I'll give it to you today if you wish. And you can download my app, which you can do your gold card. It even rings you up, taps you on the head and says, wake up, you haven't read your gold card? No, it doesn't do that at all. It does have an alarm. It does wake you up. And you can set it for when you want to set it, morning and night before you go to bed. It also, you can send a copy to your consultant, one of our support people, and they'll report back to you. And it works on an iPad or an iPhone. Not an Android yet, it's only just been out. So I want to show you 2 things. That'll be a good plan, by the way. $5,000. Today you can get this for $287, including the one-on-one session. Or take a deep breath in. Say, holy moly. And you guys, and I want just you to tell me that you're going to stand for this. If you do, you'll have it for free, and you, so we'll be getting you underway. You got children?
3.
Let us pray. Each one costs you $375,000 to get to 18. And if you take them to university, it's $500,000 each, $1.5 million for the children, and usually no tax deductions except if you speak with me.
That disability, we should double it.
Exactly, yeah. When you go to, that's only ordinary education. Okay, this is a little program I want to do with you. This is for you. We've never done this before in this set. I've done it in my coaching, and I've got a number of people that I'm going to start here in Melbourne, and the people that I work with here will be the ones I'm going to actually do this in Melbourne, and I'm looking for examples. I'm looking for a lot of these things. Okay, so here's the deal. 3-year game plan. We're going to do it not in 7, not in 5, but in 3 years. We're going to do it with stealth. And we're going to have some people who will do it before this, and they'll come on our cruise for nothing. What I do is a year, 2 years, 3 years. The first year, I get you to make $2,000 a month extra. Not working for it, the money works for you. Does that make sense? And for the first quarter, we do this. So next time, I'm supposed to open each one singly. The next month, the next quarter, next 180 days, we get another 2,000. So we've gone from 2 to 4,000. The next one we go to 6, then we go to 8. Do you understand? In other words, we're only going up by $2,000, not doubling, we're just going up by $2,000 a month. Extra money, not you working, but over here as an investor. Property, shares, business, a whole lot of things, internet, we've got a whole lot of plans that will suit you. Not our plan, your plan, but I'm going to integrate the plan. Okay? Then, normally what we do is we do a real estate transaction, and most of our transactions make between $25,000 and $50,000. And people do 2 of these, but let's just say you did 1, and let's pick the lower number, you only make $25,000. We add that to your 80, you've got $105,000. So our first year we want you to have $105,000 on this side. Does that make sense? Step by step. Next year, we just keep going. We're just adding 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. We're at $16,000 and we do 2 real estate transactions. We make 50 grand. We pick the lower number. Add the 50 to the 160, we're at 210. Does this sound good?
Yeah.
Next year, we keep going, 2,000, 2,000. That's all we're doing is adding 2,000. Now, some of you will do more than that. We've got people who've done a lot more than that. Because in the playing with Karen, and she said, this is going to be very simple to do. Can I just throw that to you? It's good. I'll throw you another one if you like. Just helps my throat gets a bit. So, that next year we do 3 transactions. We get up to 240,000. So, we don't want to stop, but we want to create the income. Does that make sense to everyone? Income's everything. And people say, it's all about outcome. Well, it's actually about income. Often the motivator talk about outcome. What about your income? I want you to write this down. Why do you become an investor? Why do you become an investor? What's the purpose?
Passive income.
Correct. Passive income. So why would you buy a negatively geared property? To lose some. This doesn't make sense. The second area to become an investor is to build your capital, not to lose it. These 2 tests are very important. Our 4 rules in all of what we do: smallest amount of money, shortest time, maximum profit, least risk. Very simple formula. Shortest time, maximum profit, least risk. Smallest amount of money, shortest time, least risk, maximum profit. Okay, makes sense, Paul? That's the rules. Now, we have a whole plan on how all this works, you know, all the different things that we do here to make that work, you know. I'll come with you on this game plan and how we do the whole process. Team success is about team, it's about leverage. It's about not you just doing it all, because you can't do it all. Some of you are lone wolves here. You're trying to do everything. You know what a lone wolf is? Very lonely. Gets rained on. Goes home hungry. You ever see a person driving around trying to find something cheap at the shop? You know, they look at these no-name brands, they spend a lot of time checking out things, you know, how much, look at it, save 7 cents on this, and they pull the trolley along. They come across this product, this is $1.20 cheap, $1.20. Took them an hour and a half before they saved $3.50 right here. Their pensioners, you know, trying to save some money. What I show is a person who buys a piece of real estate here in Melbourne for $500,000 using $1,000, who buys it for $400,000 and sells it back for $450. That make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, who's ever bought something at discount in their life? A pair of shoes, a shirt or something, or a lounge, a car. You buy a shirt for $100, you get 20% off, you save $20. How many shirts can you buy when you save 20% on a $500,000 transaction? $100,000 worth. How many shirts can you buy? The DNA, looking after the pennies and the pounds and kids here, it's all been sewn in. Let's look after the big money. Because the big money is very important here. But when you're coming from the identity of a pensioner getting prepared, can you see there's no chance in this? You ever see, thank you. You ever see a fly trying to break through a window with its head? Ever see that? What chance has a fly got of breaking through a plate glass window? What's the mindset of the fly?
I can do it.
There's always a door and a window open, but I know, what's the fly trying to do? Get outside. The strategy it's using is not working. But the goal is going to fail. Get outside. What's the definition of insanity? Do the same thing again and again and again, expecting a different result. Imagine on Monday going to work trying to get wealthy. This is bomb. Get up the next morning. This is bomb. Get 2 jobs. This is bomb, bomb. Bomb, bomb. You need to open the window. I want you to write this down. Never give up on your goals, change your strategy. Never give up on your goals. Change your strategy.